You will never make sense of how you're supposed to live until you've first made sense out of what's going to happen when you die. You can't make sense out of life until you first make sense out of death. If when we die, we simply decay and turn back into dust, then have at it and do whatever you want. There can be, reasonably speaking, no reason, or logically speaking, no reason to be good. Because nice guys finish last. So if this is all there is, do whatever you want. If this is not all there is, if in fact when we die, we are judged, and we are judged on what we have done in the flesh, that is to say, what we've done in our earthly lives, then that has great significance for how we're supposed to live now. So I think anyway, you end up living life by working backwards. You know, it's like making a goal for your career or for your education or whatever it is. You start with what I want, and then you figure out how it is I'm going to get there. We all, in different companies that we work at, even in the church, we all have vision statements and mission statements. It's worth having a vision statement for your life. If, in fact, when you and I die, we do not hear God say, "Well done, good and faithful servant," then your life or mine was a complete failure. An utter, abysmal failure. I don't care how much money you made, what kind of car you had, how popular you were, how beautiful you were. You failed life. Because life is about going home. And this life is a journey. It's just a pilgrimage. So as we look at these things today, it's a great reflection. I always find pondering death to be not merely sober. I don't find it to be all that sober at all, actually. I find it to be really helpful. I got a woman right now I'm working with who's got terminal cancer. She's dying, and she's been planning her funeral, and I shared with her how I planned mine a number of years ago and just how life-giving I found that. It's a great thing to do. If you haven't, not just to plan like where you want to be buried and that kind of stuff, but plan your funeral. What is it that you want people to get out of that day? What readings do you want and why? What songs do you want and why? To see that as, in many ways, the greatest opportunity to teach those present who you were and what you want to leave them with. And so this person who's been very involved in helping people in lots of different capacities, but has gone through somewhat of a kind of like a revival of her faith, I think she would say, in the last couple of years. They all know that she's got this altruistic spirit, but not all of them know that she's someone who's deeply in love with Jesus. I said, well, do you want them to know that? She says, well, of course I do. So you try to plan your funeral accordingly, and then you try to live the rest of your days accordingly as well. You and I may not have been diagnosed with cancer, but we're all terminal. You were terminal the day you got born. This is just a pilgrimage. So hopefully today in the discussion and what we go through won't be heavy in a sense, although it is substantial by all means. It'll really be something worth doing. Whether or not everybody here hits 80, we don't know. Whether or not everybody here will be successful in their career, we don't know. Whether or not everybody here will find the perfect person to marry, we don't know. But whether or not everybody here is going to die, we know. That's a given. And until I make sense out of what happens then, I'll never know how to live.